Bullying, spiritual warfare up close. What is a bully from a spiritual perspective? A bully is someone who habitually seeks to harm or intimidate those who they perceive as vulnerable. Understanding this from a spiritual perspective leads to Satan, the first bully. 1 Peter 5:8-9 says Satan is our adversary, walking around as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. This is Bullying Tactics 101. Recognizing this spirit of bullying is key to overcoming it because you begin to recognize its origins. We are told to resist Satan's bullying in the faith of Jesus. Let's unpack that. Jesus and bullies. We may not recognize it at first, but many people tried to bully Jesus at various times in his life, so much so that they eventually killed him. One instance of note is when Jesus was trying to explain who he was and that we need to eat of his flesh and drink of his blood, because he is the bread from heaven. The response is recorded in John 6:41-43. Basically, they reasoned that Jesus was nothing special, no greater than anyone else, and they know him and his family from around the way. That's what bullies do. They try to dim your brightness and erase your identity. Here, Jesus resists, but in a very specific way. He simply states the truth of who he is in the Father. By doing this, he does not lose himself in a useless back and forth about who he is by rattling off his accolades, but he reiterates who he is in his Father, which signals his implicit trust in the Father and who the Father says he is. Resisting peer pressure, standing up for who you are in Jesus. The key to resisting a bully stands in a knowledge of who you truly are and who they truly are. By stowing away a knowledge of who you are in Jesus, you have placed this value outside of yourself and outside of the reach of a bully. Even if your entire school or workplace were against you, it would not change this truth, as was the case with Daniel and his brethren. The strength derived from this knowledge is very great and cannot be taken from you because it comes from on high. No one, not even Satan himself, nor all of the demons of his kingdom, could take away Jesus' understanding of who he was in the Father. This knowledge Satan sought to erode with his subtle questioning during the wilderness experience by stating, "If thou be the Son of God." So let's be clear on who you are. John 1:12 says, "But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name." Romans 8:14 echoes this point by stating, "For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God." This means you are royalty and sons and daughters of the King of Kings. Do not allow yourself to be dragged down to a lower level simply because someone else is confused about who they are. Instead, seek their elevation. That's what true leaders do. They cause those around them to be better. What about the bully? They are being deceived. Satan has confused who they are, and because they are not clear about their identity, they seek to confuse you about yours. Do not allow this to happen. When appropriate, encourage them to realize who they are and that they have a greater purpose. Being able to differentiate between your true spiritual enemy and a confused person shows an unnatural wisdom and maturity which is off-putting for many bullies. The spiritual aspect. The spirit of bullying is demonic in nature. When dealing with a bully, you must realize that you are engaged in spiritual warfare. Ephesians 6:13 says to take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. You don't have to be an aggressor, but you don't have to back down either. Stand in the truth of who God says you are, not who anyone else, including yourself, thinks you are. The strong serve the weak, unpacking strength in God's kingdom. Finally, Jesus explains the dynamics of how citizenship in his kingdom works. In Luke 22:25, he explains that the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. But ye shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief as he that doth serve. There is an inner strength and dignity in service that is not found in seeking to dominate others. This does not mean you are incapable of domination, but rather that you have the strength to subdue yourself. Solomon expounds on this point beautifully in Proverbs 16:32, stating, He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city.